The quieter she gets, the more certain you are she's not into you. You're wrong. That coldness, it's not rejection. It's an invitation from a place deep inside her where she doesn't let anyone go. When a woman is truly drawn to you, she doesn't show it the way you expect. She doesn't come closer. She doesn't clarify. She doesn't text long messages. She hides, because even she doesn't understand why she's pulled toward you. She starts to go silent, but she stays present. She grows distant, but you always know she's still there. You think you need a response. You think you need her to say it out loud. But the more you chase confirmation, the more you drift away from the very state that drew her in. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." Real attraction is never loud. It doesn't grab, it doesn't plead. It just stands like a mountain and lets everything come to it. Modern men have lost this. They don't know how to be still, don't know how to hold position, and because of that, they carry no gravity. So if she's not speaking, not close, not clear, but still hasn't walked away, what does she want? Or better yet, what is she waiting for that even she can't admit? These next 3 signs won't sound like anything you've heard before. 1. She starts judging your silence. You think she's quiet because she doesn't care. The truth? She's quiet because she's watching your power and stillness. Not all silence is the same. Some silence ends things. Some begins obsession. And if you're the kind of man who makes her think, even when you say nothing, then you've already entered the first stage of a deep, silent pull. Silence is a test, but you're not the one being tested. She is. She's the one now facing herself. When you don't text, don't chase, don't react. She doesn't skip past that. She spirals into it. In her mind, scripts start writing themselves. Why doesn't he need me? Why is he still calm? What is he thinking? This is not a game. This is instinctive psychology. Women are wired to read social signals, fast. They're built to scan the environment, to detect danger, to detect power, to detect a man who doesn't need to belong. When your silence holds no insecurity, you don't lose value. You become a question mark. And the human mind can't look away from what it can't decode. She won't ask you. She'll ask herself. Every detail, that message you read but didn't reply, the post you didn't like, the space you didn't fill, becomes a mirror, reflecting her own uncertainty. Epictetus said, "It is not things themselves that disturb us, but our opinions about them." You're doing nothing, but in her mind, you're doing everything. You make her feel smaller, off balance, unsure. And if she stays, if she keeps watching, it's not random. It's the first sign. She's being drawn in by something her logic can't control. She starts judging your silence, not out of anger, but because she's trying to locate herself in your world. Do you understand this? She doesn't need your words. She needs to feel that you're not being pulled toward her like every other man. And that's why the quieter you are, the more unstable she feels. The calmer you stay, the more she feels that tension rise inside her. Now here's the important part. If you stay silent to manipulate, she'll sense it. But if you're silent because you genuinely don't need control, you begin to emit something else, an invisible gravity, something she both fears and can't resist. She'll test that, not with questions, but with chaos. One day she goes cold. One day she's all in. One day she vanishes. Then reappears right when you've stopped looking. She disrupts things, not to leave you, but to see. Will you stand still in the storm? You see, the first phase was silence. The next is pressure, because a woman drawn in, but unable to gain control, won't walk away. She'll test you. And if you think being stable is just an act, you're about to find out. She can strip it off faster than you think. What comes next? She'll challenge your composure, not with words, but with the emotional storm she creates, just to see if you're the mountain or just the sand. 2, she starts testing your stability. You think staying calm is enough, but she's not testing your calm. She's testing whether it's real or just an act. When a woman begins to feel truly drawn to you, but hasn't fully figured you out, she won't trust that feeling right away. She needs proof, and the way she gets it isn't loud, isn't clear, isn't comfortable. She doesn't test you with questions. She tests you through change. Understand this. Women don't test with logic. They don't sit you down and ask, "What kind of man are you?" They sense energy, and they test through imbalance. The test doesn't come all at once. It creeps into the small things. She disappears without warning. She shows up 20 minutes late just to see your reaction. She sends a message that pushes a boundary just to watch if you waver. Pause, ask yourself, when a woman suddenly goes silent after days of steady connection, is that boredom or is it a check to see if you stay centered without her validation? Women aren't direct when they're uncertain. They test limits because they want to believe you won't be shaken by their storm. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." She is the outside event. She shifts. She spins. But what she truly wants to know is this: do you govern yourself? If you respond too quickly, try to explain, reassure, or pull her back, you've already lost your center. She didn't need you to fix anything. She needed to feel that her waves didn't move you. And here's the paradox. The more drawn she feels, the harder she pushes. The more she senses that there's something in you she can't define, the more she'll press to find your edge. But this isn't a test for you. It's a test for her, to see if she can surrender control. She'll do things that make no sense. Cold when you're warm, close one day, distant the next. Mentions other men, not to compare, but to observe how steady you remain. If you show signs of insecurity, jealousy, or a need for reassurance, the game ends. You become part of the crowd, predictable, reactive, easy to read. But if you stay grounded, not cold, not arrogant, just intact, holding your emotions within yourself, then you shift. You stop chasing. You become a force that draws without effort. Why? Because true stability in a man awakens a woman's deepest instinct to trust. And trust doesn't come from words. It comes from presence, from a state you cannot fake. But don't get proud. Stability doesn't mean you've won, because once she realizes you won't break under pressure, something inside her will begin to crack. Not because you hurt her, but because your steadiness forces her to face feelings she's tried to bury. And when that happens, she won't plan it. She won't announce it. It will just spill. Are you ready to see that? Because what comes next is when she reveals the softest part of herself. Even she didn't know was there. 3, she begins to show her most fragile side without knowing it. When a woman loses control of her emotions, she'll try to control everything else. First, it's the space, then the timing, then even your silence. But if you stay steady, if you don't react, don't play games, don't try to read her, something inevitable happens. She starts to reveal the softest part of herself, the part she's always kept hidden. Listen, it's not that she wants to be vulnerable, and she's not trying to show it. Modern life teaches women how to manage image, words, and feeling. She knows how to act calm, how to stay busy, how to seem untouched. But all of that only holds up in front of a man who's unbalanced. One who gets pulled in, one who reacts, but you don't. You stay there, still. You don't beg. You don't explain. You don't try to keep her. You don't ask for one more chance. You become presence, a space she can't control. And for a woman who's drawn in, that's the most dangerous thing. Because when she can't move you with distance, with mystery, with challenge, her defenses begin to crack, and what she's buried starts to leak out, not through tears, not through confessions, but through small actions, slips, contradictions, tension she can't explain. She rewatches your old stories without saying a word. She types a message, then deletes it, again and again. She brings up something you once said, but only through sideways comments. She moves forward, then pulls back faster than she needs to. You have to notice and not capitalize on it, because this isn't the moment to win. This is the moment to become a mirror, a silent surface reflecting back the part of her she never wanted to face, but needs to. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Right now, she doesn't need the ideal man. She needs a man who can stay calm in the face of her unspoken fear. No judgment, no cleverness, no decoding, just stillness, like a mountain. Not moving forward, not stepping away. Because in her most delicate moment, a woman doesn't need a solution. She needs a space where she can fall apart without being judged. And if you can hold that space without making her feel exposed, you become something she's never had before. A man she can't figure out, but also can't walk away from. Then something interesting happens. The more she withdraws, the more present you become. And in that contradiction, a truth emerges. You don't have to do anything to earn her trust. You just have to stay true to yourself. And the deepest shift, the moment you stay still, she begins to change how she stands in front of you. She softens, not because you pushed, but because your grounded energy melts her armor on its own. It's not loud, it's not cinematic, it's just a drop, quiet, but deep, like the wind shifting in a forest when no one's looking. But if you're still enough, you'll hear it. And if you've truly reached that point, then the hardest part is not reading her signals. It's having the discipline not to use her softness for your gain. Because real attraction doesn't come from what you make her feel. It comes from what she can't stop feeling when she's near you. And if you're still here, prepare for the final part, where silence, tension, and vulnerability all converge. Not to end something, but to bring you back fully to who you are. You've passed through 3 layers, not tactics, not tricks, but 3 instinctive responses. From a woman drawn to something she can't explain. Silence, resistance, then vulnerability. All triggered by one thing, your presence, not your looks, not your words, not your skill, but how you remain still in a world that never stops moving. How you do nothing, and still, she feels you, and somehow, she doesn't want to leave. But now is the moment I need you to understand something. You're not supposed to use that presence to control anyone, because real presence isn't a tactic. It's not something you build with effort. It comes from the inner force you forged, in the times you were left behind, misunderstood, or misjudged. You can only create stillness if you've known chaos and learned not to repeat it. You can only remain grounded if you've been pushed, pulled, drowned, and realized, only when I master myself can I belong to no one. Seneca once wrote, "He who is brave is free." The brave man doesn't need to react. He chooses. He chooses silence. He chooses not to explain, not to convince, not to rush a reply just to keep someone close. True freedom isn't walking away, it's staying, without needing to bargain with yourself to make someone stay. A stable man is not a man without emotion. He's the man who feels without shifting his center. And if that's you, she'll see it, she'll feel it. She won't know why, but she won't pull away. Not because you're attractive, but because you become the safest place in the room. Not for what you do, but for what doesn't move in you. If you've ever asked, how do I make a woman respect me and feel drawn to me without trying so hard? The answer is this entire video. You don't need to control her, you need to control yourself. Each reaction, each pause, each time you want to chase, but don't. Each time you want to explain, but stay in the quiet. The less you speak, the more deeply you're felt. She'll be drawn, not to your words, but to what you haven't said. And if something in this message hits you, maybe this isn't just about understanding women. Maybe you're learning to become the man you've always wanted to be, but never had the words for. Hold that stillness, refine it, not to be loved, but so you never lose yourself, no matter who comes or who goes. If you feel ready to live from that place, start with one simple thing. The next time she goes quiet, don't rush to speak. The next time she turns cold, don't rush to react. Just stay still. Let her run into your presence and realize it won't move. If this video unlocks something in you, keep it, because what you've just learned won't leave you anytime soon. Not just in love, but in every connection you'll ever have. And if you're ready to go further, stay with the channel, because the journey to becoming a man of depth is just beginning.